Making that vision a reality was no small feat. More proof of the powerhouse we have in Zach Norris. You'd be wise to take the model of safety presented in this book seriously as well. These common sense ideas, whose time should have come long ago. For 25 years, I've been on the front lines of criminal justice reform. As an advocate, I've been in and out of more prisons than I care to count. I've attended too many funerals where the young people are in the caskets and the old folks are mourning in the pews. I've seen firsthand the devastating impact that excessive incarceration has had on generations of families and entire communities, communities that were criminalized, that came to be regarded as dangerous and suspect. And I've seen the suffering of the survivors and the families who have been hurt, who rarely, if ever, have found healing, even when those who hurt them spend their life behind bars. America's criminal justice system is based on retribution, the primitive notion of an eye for an eye that Gandhi says leaves the whole world blind. The damage done by an incident of violent crime is often horrific enough. But then society adds more damage, with a system hell-bent on revenge. How is damage plus damage supposed to add up to justice and healing? That's an equation that's never going to work. It is sometimes justified or necessary to place a human being behind bars. But incarceration is hardly the panacea for the wrongdoer, for the victim, or even for society that the public is led to believe it is. In fact, we are far more likely to get to accountability and healing if we acknowledge each other's humanity and engage with each other, even when that is the very last thing we feel like doing. My documentary series on CNN, The Redemption Project, is based on the understanding that the verdict in the courtroom is never the end of the story. The verdict may be the end in a bunch of TV shows featuring smart prosecutors, but not in real life. The real story keeps unfolding for years, often decades, after that moment, and it doesn't usually have a happy ending. On December 21st, 2018, U.S. President Donald Trump signed the First Step Act into law. The landmark bipartisan law allows thousands of people to earn an earlier release from prison and will cut many more prison sentences in the future. My team at #Cut50, a campaign I co-founded to change laws and policies to halve the number of people behind bars, was part of the unlikely coalition that got it done. We mobilized formerly incarcerated people, celebrities, grassroots and business leaders, and yes, Republican allies. I called its passing a Christmas miracle. Yet, of course, it was called the first step for a reason. There is so much more to do. In housing, in schooling, in bringing people from the margins into community. Putting into place the model of safety described in this book might just be the last step. Van Jones. Introduction. Us versus Them. June 2014. My family was out of town visiting relatives when someone broke into our house. I had received a call from our alarm company, but we'd had false alarms so often, like the boy who cried wolf, that I no longer knew whether to believe it or not. This time, however, it was for real. We came home to find a window smashed, broken glass everywhere. It wasn't just any window in the house either, but the window in the room shared by my two small daughters, who were 2 and 4 years old at the time. And it wasn't just any window in their room. It was the one right above the girl's bed. Glass had shattered